Let's talk about Slint's top 10 tracks. Actually, since Slint has less than 20 tracks to its name, we're going to widen the net a little bit for Slint's top 10 tracks to include Slint-adjacent tracks. And by this, I mean one of two things. First, tracks where a member of Slint was clearly the main creative driving force, or second, tracks where more than one member of Slint was part of the recording. So this won't include Tortoise, despite Dave Pajo's presence on Millions Now Living Will Never Die and TNT, nor will it include Zwan because Billy Corgan, though brilliant, is a total control freak. Additionally, no Breeders or Evergreen because Britt Walford was just the drummer for those, and though I'm sure he had creative input, it's not clear how much. Alright, enough with the preamble. Let's get down to Slint & Company's top 10 tracks. Number 10 on my list is Papa M's Drunken Spree. Coming off like a follow-on to Slint's haunted and ominous instrumental Glen, it also seems to channel the paranoid psychedelia of the Doors and Pink Floyd in their heyday. The best track on Pajo's best solo release, Live from a Shark Cage, it's a strong indication that the members of Slint still had plenty of great Slinty ideas in the tank, even if they couldn't make it work as a group after Spiderland. Number 9 on my list is Movie Star by King Kong. When bassist Ethan Buckler quit Slint out of dissatisfaction with Steve Albini's production work on Tweez, he wasted little time in starting his own band, King Kong. And for King Kong's first release, he promptly enlisted all of his former Slint bandmates. That's right, the lineup on Movie Star is the lineup on Tweez. While Buckler's band has mostly been a massive deviation from the Slint sound towards something much warmer, the track Movie Star features McMahon on vocals and is just pure catchy garage rock. While it doesn't hit on the same level as Spiderland, it'll at least make you want to groove a little, and at best, it's a really interesting what-if one-off. Number 8 on my list is The Four Carnations, Being Held. I consider The Four Carnations' 2000 self-titled LP to be the unofficial follow-up to Spiderland. And Being Held is a standout track because it features a thunderous drum solo from one Britt Walford. I've elsewhere referred to this cut as post-rock's In the Air Tonight, and it kind of works if you think about it. It's all throbbing and ominous atmosphere for a few minutes, and then suddenly, drums. It plays the same part on the album that Don, a Man, plays on Spiderland, which is fitting since that was Britt's spotlight moment as well. Really, if you're a Slint fan, do yourself a favor and pick up the Four Carnation LP. You won't regret it. Number 7 on my list is Rhoda, the EP version. The EP version of Rhoda is a clear-cut moment of redemption for what Steve Albini did to the band's sound on Tweez. The Tweez version of Rhoda is completely forgettable, just a bad recording. But the EP version makes you wonder what could have been. Of course, it surely helps that the band had toured some and further honed its sound by the time they re-recorded Rhoda, but Albini had also begun to refine his studio approach in the direction of his legendary future work. It makes you wish they'd waited until they and Albini were a little more mature to record Tweez. That whole record sounding like this? Another masterpiece. Number 6, Breadcrumb Trail off of Spiderland. What a way to open an album. Strange, almost passive guitar harmonics, and some guy telling a story in a barely audible voice. But when it hits, creeping up into the sky, man does it hit. Goosebumps every single time. It's not the best track on Spiderland, but it's the only way to open it, and surely one of the all-time best opening tracks on any album ever. Coming in at number 5 is Carol off of Tweez. Carol is hands down the best Slint track of the Tweez era. And I believe it's the spiritual predecessor to Spiderland, with McMahon insisting on some place past where the river bends, past where the silo stands, past where they paint the houses. Like he's seen some place in a mystical vision that he's trying to get to. It kind of feels like that's the location of Spiderland, doesn't it? Also, Carol totally slaps, and sounds even better as Paint the Houses on the Tweethin' mix. So how is it that, per Setlist FM, this is somehow the one track that Slint has never played live? I think we need another tour, fellas. Number 4 is The Almighty Glen. While Glen didn't see the light of day until Spiderland, it was recorded well before it, for free, by Steve Albini. And it's one of the best slices of instrumental post-rock out there, a perfect little audio essay on the minimalist ethos. From start to finish, it just slays. Number 3 on my list is Horses by Palace Songs. One of the early offerings from Will Oldham's Palace, this cover of a Sally Timms song is one of my favorite things by anyone ever. And that was before I realized that, holy crap, Will Oldham's backing band here is Slint's Spiderland lineup. Honestly, there was always something that felt very Spiderland about this track, so it was less surprising and more of a serendipitous discovery to realize that. Slint never made songs like this, but this makes you wish they had gone that Cortez the Killer sad bastard rock direction. And don't even get me started on Pajo's face-melting guitar solo outro, an utterly brilliant slab of great countrified rock and roll. Number 2 on my list is Washer off of Spiderland. For many, this is the Slint track that really grabs you. It's a special, special song. In many ways, I think it contributed to the emergence of 2 big genres, slowcore and Midwest emo. While Codine's Frigid Stars was also hitting the scene around the same time as Spiderland, Washer has the virtue of being a completely transcendent song where desperate emotion is laid utterly bare. It's not just slow, heavy music. There's a deeply mythical and spiritual quality to it, and it's also a gloriously delicate love song. You might say it's wise beyond its years or something like that, because that's how McMahon and the band sound compared to their peers around this time. Like they sense a much deeper sadness and reality than just the heaviness of late adolescent emotion. Washer goes to an emotional place that I've never heard before and have never heard since. And the all-time greatest Slint track, no doubt about it, Good Morning Captain. The ultimate Slint song is the last song they recorded. What starts as the weirdest chord progression you've ever heard rises and falls through a story based on the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. There you are, swaying back and forth with the music, like some poor deckhand on a cold and misty morning, wondering if you've somehow sailed out of this reality into another. And then, that unforgettable climax. I miss you. Yeah, that might as well be a million post-rock fans since 1991. Slint, we miss you. Alright everyone, those are my top 10 Slint-adjacent tracks. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to Beards of Kentucky, and say what's up in the comments below.